going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. For all my African Americans that are seeking reparations, I need you to understand, if it wasn't for African nations and Caribbean nations, the world would not have recognized the transatlantic slave trade as the greatest crime in human history. I need you to understand, if we ever get in a semblance of anything called reparations, it will be because an African country and a Caribbean country, countries that are led by African people and Caribbean people who are African people outside of Africa, those are the countries, those are the institutions that are going to make sure that we get some semblance of reparations. You see, people who are not politically aware don't understand that just because you're called an African American, right, on a job application or some sort of document, doesn't mean that the United States government recognizes you as anything other than just an American. The same reason why racist white Americans can't have their own, they can't really put in place plain ethno-nationalistic policies, because the government is going to say, so do you think that white people are a different and distinct group from the rest of the Americans? Because white people, they create ethnicities, and that's the only thing that counts. They're not counting you as a race. So there's no African American delegation in America that could legally represent us against America, because we are in fact just Americans. Therefore, we need heads of state, whole separate countries who have the ability to sanction, right? We don't have the ability to sanction the federal government. We don't have the ability to sanction the federal government, right? We can sue the federal government, but we don't have the ability to sanction the federal government. The only way you can get the federal government to do anything is you threaten them with the fear of not being able to make money or not having access to certain economies if they don't do certain things for their people. Meaning, we need African countries and Caribbean countries to get powerful enough and have their economies grow large enough to where America, who absolutely needs the economy of Africa, right, and also need the economy of the Caribbean, to feel threatened that they have to do right by their citizens, by their people, by their race, if they want to continue to do economic business in those countries. That's what we need. FBA, they don't seem to understand this. They think that you could just have a willy-nilly group of people go up and get the federal government to give them something. We're talking about the same federal government that won't give the American citizens universal health care, which is much cheaper than reparations, right? So if they're not going to give us universal health care just to take care of ourselves, what makes you think that a couple black folks with a new name is going to be able to get reparations? What makes you think somebody like Tariq Nasheed got enough political clout, enough business clout to get reparations? He can't even fund his own movies without getting you to pay for it. What kind of movie making director, producer can't fund his own movies? Got to crowdfund it. He doesn't have that kind of pressure, right? The only people that got pressure are heads of state. And it just so happens that we have many heads of state who are black. And we need to support them as they support us, as we support each other. And that is in fact the truth. Because as great as African Americans are, we are not a nation. We are not a state. We don't have a nation and we don't have a state. We are in fact American citizens within the state of America. And that's what we are legally. So until we get nations, whole countries, backing us, behind us as allies, pushing towards our common enemy, we ain't gonna get nothing. So y'all better put some respect on the Caribbeans, Africans, because without them, we ain't getting nothing. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Hey everyone, it's me, Mambo Odette, and I'm gonna tell you this: if it wasn't for African and Caribbean countries, the UN would have never recognized slavery as the greatest crime against humanity. Woo! It was the African countries that voted. It was the Caribbean countries that voted and took this to the United Nations. When have FBAs ever taken shit to the United Nations? Where is your country? Oh, your country voted not to recognize slavery as the greatest crime against humanity. Because y'all got Stockholm Syndrome. Donnie, with Stockholm Syndrome. I don't care what Haiti is. We have a voice in the United Nations. We are a country. In order to be sovereign, you need land. You need a country. How you sovereign in somebody else's shit? You not, fool. And I about had it with the nonsense. And I'm so serious. The nonsense just never stops. And it's just unbelievable. But it is a reflection of the American school district in some parts of the United States. It really is. What y'all seeing on TikTok. But you know what? The world knows that America has blood on its hands. And they spoke in the United Nations when they passed that. You understand? Now, I'm sure Israel thinks that the Holocaust is the greatest crime against humanity, but they kind of lost their reason after what they did in Palestine. You know, you can lose your reason. You can have reason, but then you can lose your reason with your own actions. You understand? When you become the monster that brutalized you, when you become worse than them, you can lose your reason. And old Donnie with Stockholm Syndrome, he want to talk about everyone else. He want to talk about, oh, Chavez. They took down Chavez's statue. He was molesting children. He was doing this. He was... Where is your energy? Where's that same energy for what was going on with your leader, with Epstein Island? Where's that same energy? Stockholm Syndrome. I'm so glad Caribbean can stand up for this, speak. I'm so glad African can stand up and speak. Everybody want to say we're this, we're that, and you ain't even got your own shit. You ain't even got a vote in the United Nations. Those who know. I'm Mambo that. Yay for Caribbean people.
Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.